All right, what's going on, y'all? I said, let me make this next one right quick. Let me stay. All right, so y'all, I'm still trying to read the books. I'm still trying to catch up and read all of Tracy Clark as well as all of Olivia Matthews' new series. And I just recently read Against the Current, the first book in Olivia Matthews' was it Spice Isle Bakery Mystery. I recently read this one, and as of today, I'm just now starting chapter 2 of the second book in the series, Dough Homicide, and the third book I got yesterday in the mail. So I'm going for it. But I want to talk about my reading of the first book, Against the Current, and this is probably going to be pretty simple, pretty short, because I'm a fan of this author's work per her Sister Lou series. It's over there. I ain't got time, but y'all can see my old videos talking about that trilogy. Against the Current introduces us to Lyndsay Murray. She is the owner of this bakery in Brooklyn, New York, that specializes in Ghanaian dishes or bakery pastries and or whatnot, Caribbean, West Indian. So she operates this bakery with her family. There's her grandmother, her brother, as well as her parents, and then she has cousins and aunts that also come along to help her out. So it's actually really, really crowded in this place, especially how it's described. But unfortunately, on her soft opening day, a contending baker named Claudio arrives into her shops, threatens her with, why are you opening right across from where I am? You're taking all of my customers, and there's the competition, and they get into it. Later on down the line, Claudio was found murdered. He was killed with a serrated bread knife. And then, of course, the police or detectives rush in to put the blame of the spotlight on Lyndsay, especially given that her charm bracelet is found, I think, somewhere near the body. So she's the obvious suspect. It is Cozy Mystery Book 1, 101. Just about every single Cozy Mystery where there's a shop involved starts like this. Okay? So that's one. I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. That's all right, because I ain't read cozies in a while. So with that being said, what did I think of Against the Current? I'm just going to say this. And this is still true to form after, like I said, reading her her Sister Lou series. And I did try to read the first book in her Peach Coast book. I had to switch the audiobook form on that, but I do have the second one, and I'm gonna try to read that one itself. But here it is. It still stands true for me that Olivia Matthews knows how to make me how to keep my eyes on the book. She knows how to keep me reading. She knows how to keep me reading through and through, front page to back. And it's especially difficult for me when it comes to cozy mystery, because I don't read them like I used to, because I just got tired of a lot of the certain elements that just kept repeating itself. I don't know. I maybe grown just a little bit. I don't know. But Olivia Matthews still has a complete, utter command of my attention when it comes to reading her books, and I look forward to them. I look forward to picking them up. And this is not me just being, hyperbolic, or just saying it. It's just not me saying it, but it's true, because you can watch my old videos and see that she really does. Against the Current, I just could not put it down. I kept reading. With that being said, I had some questions. I had a lot of questions about some choices. But it's so funny because this author, I love her work so much, and I always feel, when I read her books, I do feel like I'm reading something that's cozy. It's just like, I don't care. I don't care. But Against the Current, it had this fairy tale quality to me, almost too clean, too perfect, too vanilla wafer-ish, without the pudding. The dirtiness of the pudding. And I think it kind of began with a little bit of the backstory of the main character, Lyndsay. She's 27. This is a character who has her MBA, who is super intelligent. If you got an MBA, who her brother graduated from Harvard. He's a lawyer. Her entire family, they're immigrants. They have just excelled at capturing this fake American dream. But for whatever reason, Lyndsay act like a teenager. Okay. So they made me be like, okay, like, you got, yeah, you know, and it has a lot to do with cozies in general. Now, y'all know how I get about these cozy books where the main protagonist acts like a child. Y'all know how I get. Y'all know how I get. But that is evident here. So I'm looking at this character with the MBA and wondering, why is she still so caught up on her being bullied in high school? Girl, you have an MBA. You have opened up your own business. You're 27. Now, granted, a lot of us never get over high school. It took me to 21 until I finally said, okay, that stuff got to go. But granted, all of that, that is just something that I found was very stifling to this character. Like, I don't need to constantly be reminded of how she was bullied in high school. And it's so funny to me because I can't actually kind of envision why she would have been. She's seen much more of the character who everyone would have been drawn to, you know, given she's smart, she's pretty, just the complete opposite. Now, that's not saying that those things don't happen, but at 27 with an MBA and your own business, girl, you're gonna have to let some stuff go. You gotta let it go. And that's not a sufficient thing that I was really getting engaged with, because it was a thing that was occurring within this book. And that's because that's like a lot of these cozies. It's that wonderful, wonderful character, main character, who still is kind of in this small child's space internally. Okay, I'm being dramatic and stuff, but I don't care because I want to give it to y'all today, okay, before I eat. So yeah, that was one thing. It got kind of tough trying to really get it to this character, but you know, I love Olivia Matthews' writing style. Whenever I felt like it was getting to be like, what is wrong with this character, I was just like, okay, well, just go on, Troi, just keep reading, because you still want to know what's going to happen. So with that being said, a lot of the investigative choices and things just didn't kind of really have a punch, if you will. And I think one of the glowing things or examples of this is the fact that the character Lyndsay didn't even run across the body of Claudio. Now, normally, typically, really, the main protagonist in a cozy mystery would run into the body. She'll be the one to discover the body, right? Without that happening, it left the mystery kind of on this almost abstract note. And that persisted within this book because a lot of the quote unquote investigative portions had a lot to do with people entering in the bakery shop, sharing gossip, sharing information. It didn't have our main protagonist, Lyndsay, as a amateur sleuth actually going out and beating the bushes. Now, gradually she started to do that, but the author was asking for about 150 pages before we actually saw some activity taking place when it comes to the crime outside of the bakery. Okay, it took a while for us to get outside this bakery, and that made it clear. Witnessing that or reading that, it made it clear that the bakery was the main character. It made it clear that the bakery was the main character. And I mean, Olivia Matthews does have a way of repeating descriptions, maybe in different forms, but not exactly verbatim, but repeating descriptions. I'm used to that from her Sister Lou series, but that dang on bakery was the main character. That's where everything happened. Everything, just everything. It was way more descriptive and active and pronounced and profound than the character of Lyndsay herself, which is an odd way to put it, but that's just kind of how I saw it. It was constantly, here's the bakery, eat it. Here's the bakery, eat it. Here's the bakery, eat it. And it left me like, well, what about Lyndsay? And the author did try to pull something in there where we look into how Lyndsay is kickboxing. She's into kickboxing, and she's actually not a good baker, although she opened up a bakery. But that focus on that bakery and the gathering of the family and the gathering of the community was very heavy-handed. It made me say, I was left really asking myself, like, who is Lyndsay? You know, what is her bed? What is in her bedroom? You know what I'm saying? What is in her bedroom? What is her bedroom? What is the color of her bedroom walls? We know what the bakery walls look like, but what is the color? What books does she have on her shelf? Who is Lyndsay? But that bakery girl, that bakery was the main protagonist. I ain't lying. Now, I ain't mad at it, but that bakery was the main protagonist. Everything had to run through that bakery, okay? So, things continued to get weird. Like a lot of cozies, I never understood why Lyndsay was a suspect. To me, it felt like when you have those sort of egregious or we'll say brutish police detectives who are trying to hound on like the main protagonist in the cozy mystery, you know, they didn't have anything on her really. They didn't really. You couldn't make me believe that they had anything on her, you know. And what really made it so extra frustrating was that there was a sense of status when it came to their investigative portion. It was just, we believe you did it, but since we don't have enough evidence, we can't charge you. So that's it. And so that left Lyndsay to do her, she kept using that term, investigative portion to gather evidence. So it's like, as I'm reading this book that's almost 400 pages long or so, I'm like, it should have came to a point where the investigators already had captured the criminal. You know? It should have came up to a point where they already got him. But it was, like I said, that status in which they were stuck on her, that it was like a handicap. Like there was nothing, she had to do their job. And they got annoying to me. So I was like, well, hell, y'all ain't no you, so why don't y'all go on? Because you know she didn't do it, but you're not actively trying to figure out who did it. So that was that portion. But, you know, I could go on. Like, we could go on and talk about the drive-by scene that took place in this book. We could go on and talk about the scene where Lyndsay pulled the mask off the actual criminal, but for whatever reason, she didn't recognize the person. Like, at all. You had to have some semblance of recognition, even if you saw from the back. Saw the person from the back, you would have had some recognition of who this criminal was. But Lyndsay didn't know. She pulled the mask off. She chased the criminal down, pulled the mask off, but didn't know who the criminal was. So I'm confused. So I was confused. So it was a lot of that. Like I said, I had questions. But at the end of the day, I did love the book. I tell you, Olivia Matthews' work, it really does. I think she's a good writer. For real. Like, I think she's a good writer because she can make me. She's probably one of the few cozy mystery writers that, like I think I mentioned at this point, that I can push my, I guess you could say, the logical focus of trying to, as a reader, experiencing the book, I can push that on the side and just glide along and enjoy the book at the same time. Like, you know, like I can let go and just enjoy the book. Some of these can't do it. And I think that has a lot to do with just, you know, I think it has a lot to do with just that connection from an ethnic standpoint. Honestly, I think that just has a lot to do with it, where I really am just a little bit more familiar with the setting and the tone and like the granny, they call her granny, like the granny character, the mom and dad. Like I can really connect with that. It's not totally of my own makeup, given that these characters have like just they didn't achieve way more than some of the people I know, but that connection is still there, and I think that that's why I can really indulge in these books despite some of my misgivings and questions of logic choices and stuff. It's because Olivia Matthews not only can write, but her characters are warm. They are warm and in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways not though, but they are warm and they are familiar to me. You know, I feel a sense of comfortability when I read her books. And that's why I can't wait to read this. And I'm almost kind of mad at myself that it took me this long to finally pick up these books. But, you know, I had a whole host of books, but I can't wait to read this. So that is my reading of Against the Current. A very good, soft, cozy one that did touch my heart. One that I did love Lyndsay. One that I did have a lot of questions about. A lot of questions. But as always, Olivia Matthews I love her writing. I love her writing style. I do. I honestly do. And I do not say that about a lot of people. And I can say that because it's just right off my heart. It honestly is. I just love her writing style. It gets on my nerves sometimes, but I'm always there. I'm always there with her stuff. So, here's to being off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday before the new year so I can read all the next 2 books. This one and then the next one. All right, that's it.
We're going to have to kiss and make up.